The National Electrical Code does not provide a specific definition for junction box. However, it generally refers to a device that houses and protects electrical connections between multiple wires or cables. It serves as a convenient point for making connections and allows for future modifications or repairs. Similarly, the NEC does not have a specific definition for pull box. However, it is typically used to describe a larger enclosure designed to facilitate the pulling and routing of electrical wires or cables. It provides a convenient access point for pulling wires through walls, ceilings, or other concealed areas. While both junction boxes and pull boxes serve as enclosures for electrical connections, there are some key differences. Firstly, pull boxes are generally larger than junction boxes to accommodate the pulling and routing of wires. Secondly, junction boxes are typically located at the point where wires intersect and are connected, while pull boxes are placed in accessible locations to facilitate wire pulling. Thirdly, junction boxes are primarily used for making electrical connections, while pull boxes are specifically designed for wire routing and pulling. Fourthly, junction boxes are often installed in finished areas and may have covers that can be removed for maintenance, whereas pull boxes are often installed in unfinished areas and may have larger entry points or knockout holes for wire access. In some cases, a pull box can also serve as a junction box by providing connections between wires. The NEC does have requirements for the installation and use of junction boxes and pull boxes, which can be found in Article 314. Now let's delve a little deeper into the specifics of junction boxes. Junction boxes are crucial components in electrical systems because they offer a secure and organized method for connecting or branching electrical wires. They come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and their selection is dependent on the quantity and size of wires that need to be connected, as well as the specific installation requirements. Junction boxes, which are usually made of metal or plastic, are designed to protect the connections from environmental factors such as moisture, dust, and physical damage. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, as mentioned, provides guidelines for the appropriate use and installation of junction boxes to ensure safety and compliance. Although the NEC doesn't offer a formal definition, it does stipulate regulations for their size, placement, and accessibility. These regulations are intended to reduce electrical hazards and ensure the long-term dependability of electrical systems. When installing junction boxes, it is critical to adhere to NEC regulations in order to maintain electrical safety. This includes correctly grounding the box, ensuring that all connections are secure, and using the appropriate wire connectors for the application. Furthermore, junction boxes must be accessible, which means they cannot be hidden behind walls or ceilings without providing a means of access. It's also worth noting that different types of junction boxes are designed for specific applications. Weatherproof boxes, for example, are utilized in damp or wet locations, whereas fire-rated boxes are used to preserve the integrity of fire-rated walls or ceilings. Understanding the differences between these boxes is critical for ensuring that the correct box is used for the application. Now, let's talk more about pull boxes. Pull boxes are essential for facilitating the installation of electrical wires and cables, particularly in long or complex fronts. Unlike junction boxes, which are primarily used for making electrical connections, pull boxes are intended to provide a place to pull wires through conduit or other raceways. Pull boxes are commonly used in commercial and industrial installations where long runs of conduit are required. They are often positioned at strategic locations along the conduit run to reduce the amount of force required to pull the wires through. Pull boxes, like junction boxes, are available in a variety of sizes and materials, and their selection is dependent on the number and size of wires to be pulled, as well as the conduit size. The NEC also contains regulations for the use and installation of pull boxes, ensuring that they are appropriately sized and positioned to enable for easy wire pulling. Although the NEC does not provide a specific definition for pull boxes, it does specify requirements for their construction, installation, and accessibility. These regulations are intended to avoid excessive strain on wires during installation, which can cause damage to the insulation and increase the risk of electrical faults. When installing pull boxes, it is critical to adhere to NEC regulations in order to maintain electrical safety. This includes sizing the box appropriately for the number and size of wires to be pulled, as well as ensuring that the box is adequately supported and accessible. Furthermore, pull boxes must be positioned in accessible locations, allowing workers to easily pull wires through the conduit. It's also worth noting that the NEC specifies minimum pull box sizes based on the conduit size and the angle of the bend in the conduit run. These requirements are intended to ensure that wires can be pulled without exceeding their maximum tensile strength. In summary, while both junction boxes and pull boxes serve as enclosures for electrical wires and cables, they have distinct purposes and applications. Junction boxes are primarily used for making electrical connections, whereas pull boxes are specifically designed for wire routing and pulling. Understanding the differences between these boxes is critical for ensuring that electrical systems are installed safely and in compliance with the NEC. The NEC provides comprehensive guidelines for the use and installation of both junction boxes and pull boxes, which must be followed to ensure electrical safety. These guidelines address issues such as box size, placement, accessibility, and grounding. Failure to follow NEC regulations can result in electrical hazards, code violations, and project delays. Now let's clarify on the size differences between junction boxes and pull boxes. The size of a junction box is determined by the number of conductors that will be spliced within it, as well as the volume required by the NEC. NEC Section 314.16 specifies the method for calculating the minimum box volume required for various conductor sizes and quantities. The goal is to ensure that there is enough space within the box to safely accommodate the conductors and any necessary splices or devices. Pull boxes, on the other hand, are generally larger than junction boxes because they must accommodate the bending radius of the conductors being pulled through them. The size of a pull box is determined by the size and number of conduits entering and exiting the box, as well as the angle of the pull. NEC Section 314.28 provides detailed requirements for calculating the minimum size of pull boxes and conduit bodies based on these factors. Let's also talk about placement considerations. Junction boxes are typically placed at locations where conductors need to be spliced or tapped, such as at lighting fixtures, switches, or receptacles. They must be installed in accessible locations so that they can be inspected and maintained. NEC Section 314.29 requires that junction boxes be readily accessible without removing any part of the building structure or finish. Pull boxes are strategically placed along conduit runs to facilitate the pulling of conductors. They are typically located at points where the conduit changes direction or where there are long straight runs. The placement of pull boxes is crucial for minimizing the pulling force required to install conductors, which can prevent damage to the conductors and make the installation process easier. Regarding purpose, it is also important to consider. Junction boxes serve the primary purpose of providing a safe and convenient location for making electrical connections. They protect the connections from physical damage, moisture, and dust, and they provide a means of grounding the electrical system. Pull boxes, on the other hand, are specifically designed to facilitate the pulling of conductors through conduits. They provide a larger opening than a standard conduit body, which makes it easier to grip and pull the conductors. Pull boxes also allow for changes in direction of the conduit run, which can be useful in complex installations. Now let's discuss accessibility requirements. Both junction boxes and pull boxes must be accessible for inspection and maintenance. This means that they cannot be concealed behind walls, ceilings, or other building finishes. NEC Section 314.29 requires that all junction boxes and pull boxes be accessible without removing any part of the building structure or finish. In some cases, it may be necessary to install an access panel to provide access to a junction box or pull box that is located in a concealed location. In addition to the general requirements for accessibility, there are also specific requirements for the working space around electrical equipment. NEC Section 110.26 specifies the minimum working space required in front of electrical equipment such as panel boards, switchboards, and control panels. This working space must be clear and unobstructed, and it must be large enough to allow workers to safely perform their tasks. Let's discuss materials as well. Junction boxes and pull boxes are typically made of metal or non-metallic materials. Metal boxes are typically made of steel or aluminum, and they are used in applications where strength and durability are required. Non-metallic boxes are typically made of PVC or fiberglass, and they are used in applications where corrosion resistance is important. The choice of material depends on the specific application and the environmental conditions to which the box will be exposed. Furthermore, let's discuss grounding. Grounding is an important safety consideration when installing junction boxes and pull boxes. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which can help to prevent electrical shock and equipment damage. NEC Section 250 provides detailed requirements for grounding electrical systems, including junction boxes and pull boxes. In general, metal boxes must be grounded to the equipment grounding conductor, while non-metallic boxes do not need to be grounded. It is also important to ensure that all splices and connections within the box are properly insulated and protected. Their conductors should be wrapped with electrical tape or covered with wire connectors to prevent accidental contact. Also, let's talk about the use of conduit bodies. Conduit bodies, also known as conduits, are small fittings that are used to connect conduit sections and provide access to conductors. Conduit bodies can be used in place of pull boxes in some situations, but they are generally smaller and have less interior space. NEC Section 314.16 specifies the rules for using conduit bodies, including the maximum number of conductors that can be installed in a conduit body of a given size. In addition, let's discuss the NEC requirements for box fill. NEC Section 314.16 provides detailed requirements for calculating the maximum number of conductors that can be installed in a junction box or pull box. These requirements are based on the size of the box, the size of the conductors, and the number of devices installed in the box. It is important to follow these requirements to prevent overheating and ensure that the box is not overcrowded. Now let's talk about weatherproof and watertight boxes. Weatherproof and watertight boxes are designed for use in wet or damp locations. These boxes are typically made of non-metallic materials and have gaskets or seals to prevent water from entering. NEC Section 314.15 specifies the requirements for using weatherproof and watertight boxes in wet locations. Let's also talk about fire-rated boxes. Fire-rated boxes are designed to maintain the fire resistance of walls and ceilings. These boxes are typically used in commercial buildings and other applications where fire safety is a concern. Fire-rated boxes are tested and listed by underwriters' laboratories, or all, to ensure that they meet the requirements of the fire codes. Finally, let's discuss the importance of proper installation techniques. Proper installation techniques are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. When installing junction boxes and pull boxes, it is important to follow all applicable codes and standards, and to use only approved materials and equipment. It is also important to ensure that all connections are made properly and that the box is securely mounted. In summary, understanding the differences between junction boxes and pull boxes is essential for anyone working with electrical systems. Junction boxes are used for making electrical connections, while pull boxes are used for pulling conductors through conduits. Both types of boxes must be installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Remember that the National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards that governs the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. It is updated every 3 years to reflect changes in technology and best practices. It is essential for electricians, electrical contractors, and other professionals working in the electrical industry to stay up to date on the latest NEC requirements. The NEC is organized into chapters and articles, each of which covers a specific topic. Chapter 1 covers general requirements such as definitions, wiring methods, and grounding. Chapters 2 through 7 cover specific types of electrical systems such as branch circuits, feeders, and services. Chapter 8 covers communications systems such as telephone, cable television, and data networks. Chapter 9 contains tables and examples that are used to calculate conductor sizes, box fill, and other electrical parameters. The NEC is not a law, but it is widely adopted by state and local governments as the basis for their electrical codes. In addition to the NEC, there are other codes and standards that may apply to electrical installations. These include the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, standards, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE, standards, and the UL standards. It is important to be familiar with all of the codes and standards that apply to a particular installation. When working with electrical systems, it is important to always follow safe work practices. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, such as safety glasses, gloves, and hearing protection. It is also important to de-energize electrical circuits before working on them and to use lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, it is best to hire a licensed electrician. A qualified electrician will have the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform the work safely and in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. In addition to safety, it is also important to consider energy efficiency when designing and installing electrical systems. Energy-efficient lighting, appliances, and equipment can help to reduce energy consumption and save money on utility bills. There are many resources available to help you learn more about energy efficiency, including the Department of Energy, or DOE, website and the Energy Star program. By following these tips, you can help to ensure that your electrical systems are safe, reliable, and energy efficient. Keep in mind that electrical codes and standards are constantly evolving, so it is important to stay informed about the latest changes.